Super Bowl.
The Packers' all-time leading scorer.
A game winner for Mason Crosby.
It's time for the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis, presented by Verizon, the #1 network in Milwaukee, on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and on the free Odyssey app.
This is the Mason Crosby Show, live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM The Fan studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Tommy Wortz in for Mitch Thunder Nellis. Don't worry, you'll get Thunder at the fair 11 to 2 immediately following this guy, 9 to 11. Mason Crosby joining us now. Mason, how we doing today, my friend?
Doing great. You know, we're on YouTube, so just if you didn't know, go ahead, jump on YouTube. I know Tommy and Charlie work really hard to get all those nice videos, the clips, just the little cut-ups, the shorts. They're just doing everything. So, I'm living in Tommy's world. We've been having fun here now. We're going on day 4 together as Mitch is just over there eating his way through the fair. So, just pocket snacks all over the place. But I think I lied, Tommy. It's not your world we're living in. It's Quinn Priester's world we're living in.
World,
yeah,
man.
I know. I said I apologize. I think that's how it works in media, right? Okay, I'm sorry. I said something wrong. It's Quinn Priester's world. That is it. That's all we have to say about that.
Quinn Priester now has 10 straight decision victories, tied for a franchise record for the Milwaukee Brewers. He goes out yesterday, gives up a homer on the first pitch of the ball game, and then proceeds to shove the entire rest of the day against the Atlanta Braves. Goes 7 innings for the crew, 4 strikeouts. Quinn Priester, I've been trying to tell everyone here he should be your favorite player. In a year where Jacob Misiorowski is not on the Brewers, Quinn Priester should be your favorite player right now, Mason.
Well, I think he still is. I mean, Misiorowski gives us that juice and that spark, and it was like, wow, what a great bring up, what a good move to get him in that rotation.
Yeah.
But Quinn Priester is just the anchor and the rock. I mean, that is insane. And I think he's just kind of maybe has a little Scheffler in him. He just wanted to feel something.
He just feel.
He just needed to have that home run. He just needed to feel something. It's like, man, this is just getting a little too easy. I have to be fulfilled, at some point here, and that's what happened. And the fact again, like you said, I mean, his numbers to go 7 innings, you give up that dinger, first at bat,
first pitch, right
first
away,
pitch, and then it's not like, I mean, he didn't strike out a ton of guys, but he has just been so solid, 11 and 2 overall, and in a day where, I mean, the bats weren't hot yesterday. 3 hits, only 3 runs, had a great fourth inning there, and then just held them off. I mean, this is what this Brewers team does. And we've been talking about this for a while now, and we talked about it a ton yesterday. They just are tough to deal with. They'll beat you any way you want to show up that day. If you want to, have a backbone, come out firing. It obviously looked like maybe, they pitched all right, couldn't get the bat on the ball. But they just find a way to grind it out and win. And I think that is something they didn't do early on. We were real skeptical early on. It was like they are not a team that's going to grind. They need to get to 4 to win games. And now it's just they can win any way you want to carve it out. And I love that about this team. And it reminds me of, past great Packers teams and, the Bucks teams, whenever they're grinding, this team has that something special, and I'm here for it all the time.
It's the Mason Crosby Show. Tommy Wortz in for Mitch Thunder Nellis today, talking Brewers, and Nicolay Law fan talking text line. Want to get this one out to the people. 414-677-1250. Call in, talk about Quinn Priester. The question here, though, should he seriously be considered now and get some Cy Young votes this season? Because do you know the last time the Brewers have lost a game that Quinn Priester pitched, by the way, Mason? You got to go all the way back.
Was it in June?
May 24th.
No way.
Is the last time the Brewers have lost a game in which Quinn Priester has pitched in the ball game. He went 6 innings, 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts in that game, and they lost 2-1 to the Pirates. Quinn Priester has been lights out since June, and really May 30th is his first start that we have after that, our first appearance in that game, because he came in for Philadelphia.
So that's when he went 10 straight.
They have now won, I believe, 12 straight games that Quinn Priester has pitched in, and he has 10 straight decisions.
And he has the decisions.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
So when that started, when he lost that game against the Pirates, he didn't get the loss in the game. He was 1-2. He is now 11-2 on the season, 3.15 ERA. And on top of that, Quinn Priester just continuing to be really a staple and a guy that gives you a lot of confidence when you're out there too, right? Like this is someone that, you always have a guy in the rotation where it's like, oh, he's going today, right? Or something like it's offense going to need to show up, offense going to need to get after it today. And Quinn Priester is now a guy that I have so much faith and confidence that he's going to work out of it. He's going to get out of it. He is the guy that the Brewers want to have out there. And he's really making a case now, Mason, that down the stretch when they're in the playoffs, Quinn Priester is going to be a guy they're going to consider. I know he's thrived coming out of the bullpen after a couple opener opportunities, but he could start a game too now for this team.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just man, I was reading that Jordan Love article already this morning, and we're going to talk about that later in this segment. So I'm in my feels. So today is Human Tuesday.
Yeah.
We're just going back to my playing days. It is Human Tuesday. I am in my feels. And just talking about that, I mean, and how I can feel your juice around, like, this pitching staff, how Quinn Priester is rolling. Like, there is not a weak spot. Like, honestly, the starting rotation is insanity.
Yeah.
And then this bullpen just comes in and just does their work, gets it done, figures it out. We do have concern that they're going to be overworked come the end of the season, but it's also like, I mean, Quinn went 7 innings.
Yeah.
So you have some of these starters that can maybe stretch it out a little bit, give some of these guys a blow. So I mean, this Brewers team is special. I'm here for it. The Braves, the Braves are a team, like Drew Wagner said yesterday, like kind of just a lot of question marks. Like, are they good at times? Yeah. Like they kind of gave the Brewers a little, they're obviously one of those teams, not like the Nationals, that kind of just are a little bit of a tougher matchup for the Brewers. But they just found a way, didn't have to get to 4 runs, 3-1 win, like. That is just exceptional baseball, and those are the types of games I think that you can kind of hang your hat on, where it's like, hey, this wasn't our prettiest game. We didn't hit the ball great, but we found a way to get the W.
Yeah, and you can't talk about yesterday's game without talking about this guy.
And Yelich goes, and a swing and a drive to right field. This is hit a ton. It is gone for Collins. A 3-run shot, and the Brewers have the lead. 7th home run of the year for Isaac Collins. Sweeper right down the middle.
How about this kid, Isaac Collins?
How about that kid, right? 281, 384 on base. He has an 802 OPS on the year from Isaac Collins right now out of the Brewers. And I think he leads all National League rookies in wins above replacement right now as well. Like, he should also be getting some serious consideration for NL Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, who else is in that conversation?
It's going to be Drake Baldwin, who is Madison native as well.
So can't hate on him too hard. Yeah.
Currently, obviously, he's been catching. He'll be DHing as well throughout this series with the Braves. He's on the Braves right now.
Yeah.
It's Caleb Durbin, who also probably should be getting some consideration. Augustine Ramirez in Miami has some buzz. And then, of course, Jacob Mizorowski will get a couple of votes for, like, phenom points, right, where it's like everyone's just excited from it. But
do you think having those 3 guys on the same squad gets, do you think that washes it out at all? Do you think somebody else gets it just because you have those 3? Or how does the voting work for that? Is it sports writers? Is it do fans get to vote on those things?
No, it is.
How
it
does
will be
the Rookie of the Year
It
work?
is the Baseball Writers of America. But I don't know. I never really bought into it with any sport that guys steal votes away from each other on a team, right? I do think that sometimes the Baseball Writers of America can be the dumbest people on the planet sometimes when they're voting for things, and other awards people. But traditionally, I do think they get the award right most of the time now, because the fan is so well informed now compared to previous years, right?
Yeah.
And there's so much information, and there is actual like with baseball, it's been around so long that now baseball is just math, but fun math at this point. Like you can go down and look at all the numbers, and there's so much data to look at that they can't really get it wrong anymore. There's actual equations that tell you who played the best each season. Isaac Collins needs to be in the consideration. I don't think that he's got a lot of national buzz right now for the award, to be fair, but it's a pretty weak Rookie of the Year class in the National League right now because the American League right now, you remember the A's Jacob Wilson, the shortstop that was leading. He was the favorite, and then they called up his teammate Nick Kurtz over there, and he's minus 6,000 right now to win the American League Rookie of the Year. He's been on fire indeed. But on the National League side, it's definitely up in the air. I would say that the Brewers should at least be the favorite in some capacity to have someone on the team win the award.
Here's a question for you. And I was always kind of surprised. I felt like the Packers like almost undersold their players sometimes on awards like during that time. It was almost like just put everybody out there that like has any kind of stats and all that, like just like promote it all, right? Do you think the Brewers need to do more to like just promote Isaac Collins or Mizorowski or whatever, like just have more buzz from the organization side, getting it out into the world?
I think that
Is that something that needs to be done?
I think they thrive on low key. I do think that. And Pat Murphy spoke about it a little bit yesterday in his post game. It's
they
just
don't want to put undue pressure on guys.
Well, and he just thinks like, wow, what's awesome is that when you have a game like this, people now know who Quinn Priester is. Like people now know who Isaac Collins is, because before that, really across national media attention, they don't have that right now. And Jacob Mizorowski definitely helps bring some attention to the Brewers because of what he can bring to the baseball field. And then you can look at the team from there. But right now, Isaac Collins, he doesn't have the same attention that Jacob Mizorowski has. And Quinn Priester as well doesn't. Should they? Maybe. Probably.
Yeah.
But Pat Murphy talks about hunger all the time. And I think that when you are doubted or overlooked, it makes and builds more hunger too.
Sure.
And that is something that I think this Brewers team, if they're going to be the hunted now, where they do have the best record in Major League Baseball, the only way to combat that is to fight it with hunger, I think, Mason.
It's good. No one likes to be hungry.
No.
But, I do think that's a motivator.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get that. I'm all for it because I just know, in the past, it's like, some maybe under-deserving people, like, have gotten awards because, like, they got, like, pushed out. They like in the NFL, like that's where what I know best is in the NFL, like Pro Bowl votes, things like that. It's like some guys would get in, and it's like, I'm not sure if their stats actually justified that, but their team was just pushing the narrative.
Look at Snoop Huntley, right? Tyler Huntley, who just signed with the Browns yesterday. He had more interceptions than touchdowns, but they won all their games with him when Lamar was out, and then he makes the Pro Bowl as a replacement.
Exactly.
Like, that's exactly what it is, right? It's all just publicity and sharing it out to the masses, and that's how they were able to do that. But the Pro Bowl is a little different than
that's
like an
with the
award,
fan voting.
right?
Yeah,
right.
The fan voting kind of makes that a little different, but I just think they need to get credit, and we'll give them the credit. Organization, just keep plugging along, but we'll give them credit where it's due. And we need to talk about how now they have a 3-game lead over the Cubs.
The Cubs yesterday just
how do you like? You just don't touch first base. I love that.
Yeah,
that picture I sent you of
yes.
Swanson. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I guess just jump over the base. Maybe the umps will miss it.
Mike Soroka, their new pitcher, is well heading to the IL. So whatever they brought in, not really working. Cubs fans losing it on Twitter right now. Cubs Twitter is like, if you just want like a little smirk to come across your face every day, get into that Cubs Twitter depth right now, because the sky is falling in Chicago with their baseball team right now. And the Brewers, I brought up a stat yesterday with Mitch, is since July 1st, this was as of yesterday, the Cubs have the 4th best record in the National League.
Yeah.
Like, they have been a
They're a good
very
team.
quality team during this stretch. The Brewers have made up 7.5 now after yesterday, 8.5 games since June 1st.
That's crazy.
On the fourth best record in the league right now. The Brewers are playing at an unreal level, and it stems from their pitching, but really, I just think the culture has to be unmatched right now compared to anyone else in baseball. And I know you've talked about it when, like, you walk into the Giants facilities for the first time after being with Green Bay for all those years, and you still find yourself like, hey, we're in a good building, a good organization, and a good culture. I think people feel that when they come to Milwaukee, looking at what the success has happened with Andrew Vaughn so immediately, and what Brandon Lockridge has done as well. Like, that does something to a player, Mason.
It does. I mean, and we talked about that specifically with, like, those guys. When you come into that building, the culture can carry you. And you see guys like, obviously, Yelich is leading out in front.
Yeah.
Like, he's a guy that, he goes to Miz and says, like, best pitching game of the year. Like, really, really loved what you did there. They had a closed-door meeting with the players saying, like, we need to get this thing sorted out. Like, Yelich leads from the front, and those are the types of guys you have. And he's been around, and he just knows if we bring anyone in, it's got to be done this way. Like, you can't just bring a body into that space. Like, everyone's like, oh, bring Suarez in, all that. We're seeing what happens whenever, someone like that goes to another squad. If it just isn't a good fit, like baseball especially, I feel like is just this. You gotta feel good. You gotta have like that right mojo. I mean, it's a long season. There are, like, you're playing day in and day out. You gotta find that joy and that passion, and you see it from this Brewers team. I mean, they are so for each other. They're, the way, honestly, just the way they run the bases shows what kind of team this is.
They keep saying, like, power of friendship, right? The power of friendship throughout this whole process.
And you just see that culture, and it's and then you have Pat Murphy, who's just this, like, this big, like, he's got like a funny personality, but he's just like, he's just a stalwart. He's just going to be there in a presence. He's going to demand excellence. I
told Charlie yesterday, I'm like, Pat Murphy's probably the coolest grandpa you can have, but worst father-in-law you can have. Like,
exactly.
that is the energy he gives off the entire time. Is like, I mean, Pat Murphy, and we talk about the culture, right? It's a trickle down, right? He's the one who's got to establish this. When I went in and covered a few games this year, like, the first time you go cover a game and Pat Murphy doesn't recognize you, he makes you, the reporter, introduce yourself, right? Like, he wants to be on a more personal level from the jump. And he does that with anyone he doesn't recognize, from opposing teams, from the team you're covering right there. That's what he does. And that's got to be something that, obviously, if he's doing that with reporters, like, how much closer are you even in your locker room or your clubhouse at that point?
I'm sure, who knows, those types of things. And Andrew Vaughn, any of these new guys that came in, Lockridge, they probably had to come in, they probably had to have an uncomfortable moment,
right?
And talk about themselves. And, like, that just breaks the ice so fast. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, you kind of know personality. Guys can either give you a hard time because you were stiff, or, like, kind of seem serious, or if you're the jokester, it's like, all right, we know exactly what we're getting. And now it's like, let's go to work. Let's do this thing. And I think those types of things are, like, it unlocks so much in a person and in a player. And those things they're kind of undervalued in sports sometimes, is like how someone feels about the situation they're in. It's like, we don't want to talk about feels. You go out there, it's like you're playing a game. Like, go entertain, go do your job, do all of that. And when you're working, that's what it is. But there is something about just feeling confident, feeling comfortable, knowing that the guy next to you has kind of showed his true self at some point, and then you're working towards a common goal. Like, those are like the basis of, like, a really solid squad, and this Brewers team is showing that on a day in, day out basis.
Mason's so gonna cry today on today's show.
Dude,
He's so gonna cry today on today's show. I can feel it.
You can feel it today, right?
We got the Human Tuesday vibes rolling in today. Andrew Banstra of Channel 3000 in Madison gonna join us on the other side. We'll talk Packers. We'll talk Brewers. Badger season. They're in camp right now.
Yep.
Don't worry, we're gonna get some Badger guests on next week too, exclusively to talk about some Badgers. But we're gonna take a look around the league, around the Wisconsin sports landscape with Andrew Banstra, Channel 3000 next. It is the Mason Crosby Show, live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM The Fan studios, powered on the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Oh, yeah.
It is the Mason Crosby Show. Tommy Wortz in for Mitch Thunder Nellis. Packers all-time leading scorer still with us, right, Mace?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. And now joining the Mason Crosby Show, Channel 3000 sports anchor in Madison. Follow him on Twitter, X, at Andrew Banstra. It is Andrew Banstra joining the show. Andrew, how are we doing today, my friend?
I am good, fellas. How are you guys? Great to be back on.
Yeah, great. Great to hear from you. How are things going down in Madison over there?
You know, things are going just like it is up in Green Bay. You know, it's finally feeling like fall and football season. It's an exciting time. Platteville is buzzing with the Badgers down there. And honestly, to me, there's no better time of year than this time of year as we get ready for football season and as baseball season heats up. You guys were talking about it. The Brewers are unbelievable.
Yeah, the Brewers are on the top of our mind right now, and on most days, it's fun whenever they are rolling. Kept this summer really exciting. You know, July can be a little bit of a waning month in the sports world, and the Brewers just kept it front of mind how well they played. So, Andrew, I want to talk about the Badgers to start here, and then we'll dive into some other stuff. So I read this article on ESPN about kind of like impatience scale for some of these teams, and they had the Wisconsin Badgers at coach must deliver soon tier. How do you feel about that? Like, do you think that's the case there in Madison with Fickell, or do you think they're going to give him a few more years and just kind of keep building this thing up?
I think the seat is hot. I think that as the temperatures start to drop outside, his seat keeps getting hotter and hotter. He's heading in, obviously, to his third season, and he's got a 12-13 record over those 2 years. And, his message this offseason, Mason and Tommy, has been, getting back to the Wisconsin way. And honestly, the Wisconsin way, guys, is winning at least 6 games, right? I mean, you can't not make a bowl game and do that. The coaches poll comes out yesterday. 6 of their 12 opponents are in the top 25. It's a tough schedule. So I think he's on the hot seat this year. Frankly, it's going to be interesting in the sense that, Chris McIntosh hired him. So does he give him a little bit longer of a leash? But, I think this could be a year that really is a make or break for them. And talking to the players a couple weeks ago and over the course of fall camp, their message has been, we've got such a hard schedule. That's a great opportunity for us to prove ourselves, but it's going to be a test.
Yeah, I as I look at that and I think about it, it's like he's saying, get back to the Wisconsin way. Why do you think he went away from that mindset that has worked for so long whenever he first took the job? Like, what do you think the reasoning was that he's just like, oh, gosh, I'm going to go air raid. I'm going to change this whole culture whenever it's been proven to be successful for a very long time. What was it, 25 straight years, getting to a bowl game, having winning records? Maybe speak on that. Like, and I have heard him say that he is kind of shifting that focus, trying to do more of a hybrid thing because you have to do, play the game with the players you have in the building. You can't just always be trying to go and find something to fill what you're trying to be. And I think that's what makes great coaches is being willing to adjust whenever it's just not working out.
Yeah, I think that from his perspective, I think that he thought that the way to go about this was he was asked to take Wisconsin to the next level. And he didn't think that next level could be taken without completely changing philosophy. And I think to your point, Mason, he found out quickly that can't happen at Wisconsin. You have to win and do it at a higher level at the same way that it's always been done. And his focus this offseason and in recruiting especially, in what he's been saying at least, is trying to get the bigger guys on the offensive line and the defensive line. And we know that for Wisconsin, that's where it all starts. So I think that he thought that the only way to take that next step was to do things the way that a lot of other schools are doing things. But as we saw, in college football, especially lately, the Big Ten has won championships at the national level with running the football. Michigan and J.J. McCarthy, they didn't have to air raid,
For sure. I mean, that is what makes Wisconsin football. I love those big guys on the inside, the O-line, D-line, those are my guys. So you have to have those anchors, and that's what moves a culture forward. That's what Wisconsin football is about. So I'm hoping that they can get back to that form. We got Andrew Banstra joining us from Channel 3000 in Madison on the Mason Crosby Show. Before we shift gears to some other things, as you look at their schedule, tough schedule, what do you see the Wisconsin Badgers finishing, at record wise? What would be considered a positive, obviously winning record, but do you think they can get to 7-8 games, or are we just kind of hopeful for a 6-6, or maybe you can go 7-5 this year?
Are we hopeful? 4, I'm hoping for
at
this
get out
rate.
Of here,
it
Tommy.
feels like I look, Andrew.
They can win 4.
Andrew,
they can win 6.
You know as good as anyone, Andrew. It might be the toughest schedule in the country.
I do think it might be the toughest schedule in the country. I mean, just looking at the top of the top, you have Ohio State, you have Oregon, you have Michigan, you have Illinois. All of those teams are in the top 14, not to mention Indiana's in there.
Alabama,
obviously, not to mention. So you could chalk 6 of those up as losses. Let's just optimistically say they get one of those. You assume they win the other 5, which includes an Iowa, which includes a Minnesota. I think you're optimistically looking at 6 wins. You could get me to 7 if you really, really showed me that, Jeff Grimes, who, a lot of the Badger players are incredibly high on, and he was able to get guys back out of the transfer portal to come back to play for his scheme. He's a guy that pounds the rock, and that the receivers tell me really, really they enjoy his offense, which I found really interesting. But Mason, I think 6 wins is the ceiling for this team. 7 would be a huge win.
Well, you talked about that pounding the rock. I mean, receivers like when you run the ball because the DBs aren't just in coverage the whole time. You actually have some freedom, and you can run plays. RPOs become an option. Air raid stuff, it can work, but it actually stresses the skill positions a lot more. So. All right. Well, hey, I'm optimistic, and I always am. Tommy knows that. He's shaking his head. He's just such a negative Nancy. I'm
telling you right now that I don't understand the culture change, because I don't think anyone was really begging for Wisconsin to change their culture.
That is
right?
the thing.
That's another thing where it's if it was a negative culture and it wasn't influencing and it wasn't translating to the football field, then get a guy in, come in, change everything, right? That's what a good program would do. But no one was begging the Wisconsin Badgers or saying that the culture was wrong for the last 25 years. Why go up and change it now? And I was one of a very popular opinion excited that Luke Fickell was coming to Madison. I was super excited about it. I thought it was going to be awesome. Then they started bringing in Phil Longo, talking about air raid, and it was like, wow, okay, maybe this team is really going to change things up. But Andrew, as good as us, they didn't act upon it, really. They didn't go out and recruit the best recruits in the state. They didn't go out and recruit the best recruits in the country, right? They did not do that. They have said that all of the On3 rankings and all of the 24/7 sports rankings are the Badgers are recruiting better than ever. They're not playing better than ever, so obviously their recruiting has been terrible, Andrew.
Yeah, the recruiting has dropped in these last couple of years. And, to your point, they're not getting the best players in Wisconsin. 2 years ago, top 3 of the top 4 guys in the state didn't go to Wisconsin.
The top 2 aren't there this year either. Yeah. They're both gone as well from this class as well.
And that just can't happen if you're Luke Fickell. You're a guy that has the pedigree. You're a guy that can sell a guy theoretically on. I've been to a college football playoff. I know what it takes. You may not have seen it these last 2 years at Wisconsin, but I have a championship level pedigree. And it's unacceptable to let guys leave the state, especially in the transfer portal era. I was talking to, one of their nose guards, Ben Barton, who was telling me how it kind of means – he didn't necessarily say it means more to him than, the other players. But he said, I'll be a Wisconsin Badger after I graduate. I was a Wisconsin Badger before I graduate or before I got here, and I'm a Wisconsin Badger while I'm here. And there's just something to be said about a guy that is from the state, that wants to play for his state school and that has no intentions of leaving. Not to mention, guys in Wisconsin are going to fit the brand that Wisconsin football plays a little bit better.
Sure.
It just, I don't know. I mean, Mason, do you think that they can get to 7 wins this year? You said you're an optimist.
That is, I'm just not. I'm not sold on like Illinois and Indiana. So I just think those could be some teams that Wisconsin could steal some wins from. I'm just not sold that they are. They have like transformed into these dominant programs.
They're going to have to write down win
So-
themselves after the game on the scorebook. They're going to physically have to steal the win if they're going to do that
Shut
at
up.
this point. So I have no faith. I've lost all faith in the Badgers, and I wish I had some.
Well, we're going to shift to the Packers here in a sec, but I do want to just say, just what you said about the culture and about being a Wisconsin Badger. I mean, we got to spend some time with Joe Thomas, like a couple weeks ago. And, I mean, he went to Cleveland, never got to the playoffs, never had – and in his Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame speech, he talked about the Wisconsin Badgers more than anything. Like, it's like the guy's a NFL Hall of Famer for what he did in the NFL, but he is a Wisconsin Badger first and foremost, and that is always going to be where he's at. And he can do whatever he wants in the state of Wisconsin because of that. So, like, you have to sell that. Like, you are from Wisconsin, be a Wisconsin Badger, and if we don't want you, go somewhere else. But you have to come to Wisconsin if you're the best in the state. That blows my mind that's not the case. I mean, I grew up in Texas. Mac Brown, he handpicked whoever the best players in the state of Texas. He was getting the first option at them, and then they went to A&M, Tech, Baylor. They start going out somewhere else. But you have to get the best players from your state. There's no excuses there. We got Andrew Branstra from Channel 3000 in Madison joining the Mason Crosby Show. Let's shift our focus to the Packers. We saw Nate Hobbs had a little bit of an operation. There was no real news that he was injured, anything like that. So maybe tell us, if you have any information on what might be going on there.
Yeah, I found it interesting that he didn't play on family night, and it was kind of confusing. Obviously he's a guy that has no hesitations in going full board at every chance that he can, which I think is an awesome thing for this Packers defense. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned it. It looks like he's going to be out for the rest of camp, which for a defense that needs him to, whether it's Keyshawn or him leading that cornerback room, it's not a room that's particularly deep. And I think that they need a guy like him and his physicality to continue on a really, really good year one of what Jeff Hafley did on the defensive side of the ball. I think that almost more than anything is what I'm excited to see in this season in Green Bay is what Jeff Hafley can do with that defense.
Yeah. They brought back Corey Ballantyne. Obviously now, Bo Melton's making this team. If Nate Hobbs is hurt for the rest of the thing, I'm guessing he just had like a meniscus cleanup or something like that. For that short of a time frame. But yeah, who has stood out? And obviously we've been high on Omar Brown. But that safety position, but I feel like that safety group is deeper than the corner space. So who do you think's the odd man out in that DB room?
Yeah, in the DB room, Bo Melton's obviously going to be further down the list. He's going to be right in that mix. I think that's to be seen. I think that if Nate Hobbs can't go week one, then maybe Ballantyne does slide into that list, into the real rotation.
Yeah, he's a great special teamer as well.
He is. He really is. And I think, you mentioned the safety room. I think that the guys I'm really excited to see this year are year two guys like Javon Bullard and guys like Evan Williams. I think that those two were really, really impressive as rookies. And even getting into, the linebacker room, Edgerrin Cooper's another guy that I think, Mason and Tommy, that are going to be fantastic as year two guys, especially in their second year under the same scheme, and a guy in Jeff Hafley that I've been really impressed with.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about those guys and Isaiah Simmons in that linebacker room where it's just, I think Isaiah is just going to free up all those guys to do things. I could see Halfley just using him in so many different ways that then it's just like Edrin Cooper and Quay and Isaiah McDuffie, like they can just be anchors and make plays off of whatever Isaiah Simmons is doing because he is that type of impact player if you just kind of identify his role. You know, at Arizona and New York, like they just wanted him to do so many things that like he never got to identify the role of like who he was and what he could do on the football field. So I'm excited to see his whole skill set unlocked here in this Halfley defense as well.
Totally agree. And, you know, I was there the day when Josh Jacobs described him as a unicorn. And I think that's the perfect way to describe him. And I think it's scary. It is scary for opposing offenses when you have a guy like him and Edrin Cooper coming at you. I think Cooper is going to be fantastic this year. Somebody asked me a couple of days ago for a hot Packer take. And my hottest take I could give you is that Edrin Cooper could be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. It is a hot take, but it's possible.
It definitely is. Yeah. We got Andrew Banstra from Channel 3000 in Madison joining the Mason Crosby show. I want to talk about, so we talked a little bit yesterday about it, but Jordan Morgan, was playing left tackle on family night. It looked like Lucas Van Ness had a good night, especially against him. Where do you think Jordan Morgan is in his progression? Probably not going to be a starter, but do you think he's progressing the way that as fans, they're evaluating him as we would hope he would be?
I think that he is certainly progressing. I think that, to your point, he was in there on family night, but I don't think he's necessarily progressing the way that maybe they would have hoped that he would be. You know, you use a first-round pick on a guy, you want him in his second year to probably be getting into that rotation. And to your point, it doesn't look like he's going to be a starter this year. The Packers have shown as an organization, of course, that they're okay with waiting for guys to develop. He's certainly developing. But I don't know necessarily that he's doing it at the rate that they thought he would when they drafted him. He's improved in a lot of areas, but maybe not to the degree that they would have hoped he would have by this point in his short career.
This sounds like we're just talking about the Badgers again now when we talk about Jordan Morgan. It's just like, oh, yeah, everything's great. Well, not really. It's kind of bad. We're going to say we're progressing, and we're just heading in a direction at this point. I don't know if it's forward. I don't know if it's backward, but that's what it is with Jordan Morgan. Andrew Banstra joining us here, Channel 3000 in Madison. Follow him on Twitter at Andrew Banstra. And then let's talk about the quarterback, right? I mean, that's got to be the next thing that gets brought up here, too. Jordan Love, he just had a great article that we're going to go through in the second hour here in the Players Tribune. But
awesome article.
Talking about a guy who I feel like for some reason is so polarizing in the state and has done nothing but like given you more and more evidence on why you should be on his side. You're talking about a guy who's been to the playoffs now the last two seasons. He has a playoff win under his belt, but he's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Brett Favre. Completely understand that. What are your expectations and realistic expectations for Jordan Love heading into year 3, Andrew?
Yeah, I think that Jordan Love, he said it multiple times in the course of training camp that he would never use injuries as an excuse. And, the fact of the matter is he needs to play better than he did last year. And I think he will. I think that going into a season as healthy as he is, his third year as a starter, I often think about him and Fickle being on a similar plane, and that they both.
Gosh, I hate that take already.
Not in that. I guess maybe I said that wrong. I should say they're both heading into their third year, and they both.
Yeah. Andrew Banstra just said Jordan Love's on the hot seat. Another hot take. Thank you.
They both were the start of a regime change, I guess, is my point.
Yeah, for sure.
And headed into their third year of it. I think that Jordan's going to be really good this year, and I think that he's underrated. I'm from Iowa originally. I like Cooper DeJean a lot, but when I saw he was rated higher on the NFL Top 100 than Jordan Love was, I think things like that need to put a chip on your shoulder if you're Love. He is an elite quarterback when he's at the level that he can play at, and I think he goes out and shows it this year with the wide receiver room that he's more and more comfortable with, and Matthew Golden has obviously been impressive in camp. Very impressive.
Yeah, I think Jordan, he has that locker room. I mean, he is just, he's taken that next step. And that was like my kind of take at the end of the season after that Philly game, is just like his next step is in a role of elevation in that leadership. Not that he wasn't a leader already, but just where it's like you kind of put yourself out there a little bit more. And you say, this is my squad. I am leading this bunch. I'm leading this group to go win a championship. And like, it's a scary space to live in. And I think he's prepared for it now. And he's in a spot where he can lead there. And you can see the guys following. And you know, Josh Jacobs is kind of like our vocal piece there in Green Bay, where he's willing to say all the things that nobody else is willing to say, and he's gonna boost his guys up and talk about different players, which is unique in Green Bay, because for the most part it's like, talk about yourself, don't talk about anyone else, do your job, all those things. And Josh has kind of brought that freshness there, and I think Jordan though has his progression is going to be just put yourself out in front and say, I am going to lead this team to greatness. And I think that's his next step. And do you think, like, when you look in this division, we've talked about this a lot, like, I mean, you got to think Jordan Love is the best quarterback in this NFC North at the moment. Like, I can't imagine putting anybody else as far as just all-around skill set above Jordan Love. What do you think of that?
I totally agree. And, people would say Jared Goff, and to me, that's outrageous. I think that Goff has been good.
That's so outrageous.
It is. I mean, Jordan Love is – find me 2 GMs in the NFL that would take Jared Goff over Jordan Love. It's not going to happen.
No.
I mean, Jordan Love is –
that trade has worked out, with Goff and Stafford. But, like I thought that was the most ridiculous thing that I've ever seen whenever it happened. And, I guess it's worked out for the Rams better than it has for the Lions, because they haven't won anything yet. But at least, Goff has been serviceable, and he has a great squad around him. But, yeah, I would not put Jared Goff. Like, I think he was in a top 10 in the NFL as quarterback rankings. I'm not even sure I would put him there. He does lead that team in a good way, but I wouldn't put him as if you just look at skill set and what a quarterback can do and take over a game, I wouldn't put Jared Goff there.
I totally agree. And Jordan Love, he talked in that article about how his leadership style had been shaped by Rodgers. But I also think there's a piece that your leadership style needs to be, determined by the experience you have. And I think that he's shown that in the way that he's talked in camp this year, kind of, saying that the little things have to happen at this time of year, because he's learned that if one little thing goes wrong in the postseason, or you take one rep off in in training camp, it can all fall apart at the wrong time. And he's really harped on consistency here in this training camp, and just knowing that each and every day has to be at its best if they want to get to where they want to be. And, add to your point, Mason, this locker room believes in him. Tucker Kraft said Jordan Love is the guy that will take us to a Super Bowl. And, I think he's right.
All right, we got Andrew Banstra joining us from Channel 3000 in Madison. One last question before we let you go. We just got to talk about the Brewers real quick.
Yeah.
And just who's your favorite player right now on the Brewers as we're here in early August? This team is rolling. Who just gets you most excited?
And why is it Quinn Priester?
We're setting you up. I mean, if it's not Quinn Priester, then
it has to be. He's awesome, Andrew.
You stole my answer. I didn't think that you were about to say it can't be Quinn Priester, but truly, I was going to say Quinn Priester. The guy has been lights out, fantastic. I mean, it doesn't matter who he's going against. He goes against the Dodgers, he's lights out. Last night against the Braves, 7 innings, gives up 1 run, 2 hits, 4 strikeouts. I mean, the guy was unbelievable and is unbelievable. Since May 24th, he has a sub-2.5 ERA. I mean, the guy is unbelievable. Who would have thought when they traded for him that he would be what he is? Yeah. But that's just what the Brewers do, guys. It's stunning. It's unbelievable. And that pitching rotation is something that, they're going to have a 5-man rotation they can run to in the postseason. And when it really gets down to it, a 4-man rotation that stacks up with anybody else in the big leagues. It's incredibly impressive.
All right, Isaac Collins, Rookie of the Year. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that I think it's a real possibility. I was listening to Murph's press conference last night, and he was talking about. He said, "Collins, what's his first name? Oh, Isaac. Isaac's."
I love it. He's still a rookie.
He's the best, man. Murph is the best, but I think Collins has a real shot at it. And the incredibly impressive thing about this Brewers team is, to your point, they didn't need to make a deadline move because they have all of these homegrown guys, and they make little moves like Priester and like Andrew Vaughn that serve better for them than a deadline move would, because they all fit within the culture in their locker room. And, Pat Murphy he cooks up something pretty special there in Milwaukee. Who wouldn't want to play for a guy like that?
Cooks it up, puts it in his pocket. That's Pat Murphy's schedule right now. So, yeah, Andrew Banstra, Channel 3000 in Madison, joining the Mason Crosby Show. Andrew, thank you so much. Where can the people find you? What do you want to plug on the way out here?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that people can find me on Twitter at Andrew Banstra, and of course always at channel3000.com. We've got an exciting week coming up. The Madison Nightmares of the Northwoods League have a chance to win the you're a Honeybees guy, huh?
Well, I'm a Wilmer guy, but Honeybees is my
Stingers.
not. The Stingers. See, he knows.
Stingers, yeah.
He knows.
Yes.
Beehive roams, baby. Beehive roams.
Absolutely. The Nightmares have a chance to win their first ever title tomorrow night. So that's what we've got going on this week. And then Thursday, we'll be in Platteville talking to the Badger running backs. That I'm really excited to talk about, see how they have gotten along with Jeff Grimes' new offensive style this year.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to that, and we'll try to check out some audio from some of those interviews. So appreciate you, Andrew, and we'll catch you next time, bud.
Absolutely. Thank you, fellas.
There he is, Andrew Banstra, Channel 3000, joining the Mason Crosby Show. We're way late because we had way too much fun with Andrew Banstra. On the other side, we'll recap what we talked about with him a little bit and just dive a little bit deeper into this Packers DB room a little bit on the other side. It is the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. It's the Mason Crosby Show. Tommy Wortz in for Mitch Thunder Nellis. 1250 AM, 105.7 FM The Fan. Presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. Just wrapped up with Andrew Banstra over at Channel 3000. He's great, always good. We'll definitely have to get him on for Badger season. He can talk anything in the state, though, as you just heard there. I want to remind you guys, Packers cornerback Nate Hobbs reportedly had surgery on his knee in the last couple of days. How concerned should we be? Fox 6's Lily Zhao joining Mitch Thunder Nellis today to recap it all this morning at 11:40 from the Wisconsin State Fair. It's Thunder at the Fair on the Fan. If you saw what I was doing there, Mason, we just had our wonderful IT Ed set up a nice little monitor that can drag now so I can look up, and it's bigger now on top of it. I don't know if that means anything to you. Yeah, it doesn't matter, I guess, really to you when
I thought you were just like doing like a pose, like, you know, like the fashion model where you're just staring off into space. Nice.
I have
the
that,
longing, like long stare.
The long stare. Yeah, Target's calling me for sure to be the next model there.
Yeah, they are. Target.
Mason.
You'd be a Kmart guy.
A Kmart model. That might be the meanest thing you said to me on the air right there. That is that of all
that
the
was
other
it?
things.
That was what got you.
Like, I'm like, look how red. Oh man!
I still remember going to getting to Green Bay in 2007 and driving down Lombardi, and it was Big Lots and Kmart. We're still in that parking lot,
dude.
And I was just like, "Where am I right now?" Like, I'm just transported back to the 1970s.
I'm pretty sure,
but I was all for it. I loved it.
I'm pretty sure Cudahy had like the last standing Kmart in Wisconsin, and there was no like grass medians or anything. It was just a block of cement. You go and like just anything, yeah. Somehow that outlet.
I'm sorry,
that
I just
had
broke you.
Kmart and Sears in the same outlet. It didn't last very long. It's a great Spirit Halloween every year now, though. For
nice,
sure.
Yeah. That's why I think all Kmarts are now Spirit Halloweens. I think that's what they became.
I think being a Spirit Halloween model is not as mean as a Kmart model. I really do. It's the Mason Crosby Show. Tommy Wortz in for Mitch Nellis here with the Packers' all-time leading scorer. And I just want to bring that up again with Nate Hobbs. And, you know, the Packers bringing Corey Ballantyne back after he gets released, and now he's back with the club. Mason, how big of it is it, or how big a deal should it be with Ballantyne coming in to try to take some reps over, with Hobbs expected to miss some time and might be back for week one, according to Rob Domofsky, but just having like a guy who's already been in the building. He already kind of knows how things operate as far as Packers operations go. Maybe he's got to catch back up on the defensive side for sure. But just, again, that transition and talking about getting a new guy back in the locker room whenever it happens, well, this isn't really that new of a guy.
Yeah, I mean, this makes sense. Like, you're not going to bring in a guy that, you know, off the street. You're not trying to develop anyone because you're going to get Nate Hobbs back. I mean, so it's just bringing Corey if he needs to fill in any time, if Nate's, you know, recovery doesn't go as, you know, as planned. These knee surgeries, I mean, 3 weeks seems like a pretty quick turnaround.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but if it's just like a, you know, if he had some little meniscus thing or something that just needed to be scraped up, you know, and just cleaned up. And it's always funny. You always say this, like, just clean up the knee. And, like, doctors would say, like, that's not how it works. But it's, you know, just clean it up. They snip something in there.
How many times did you have to have the knee cleaned up?
I cleaned the knee up, you know, a couple times.
Anytime ever, like, in season or close to the start of the season like this?
No, well, the 2022, yeah. The guy, July is when I think it was like a week or two before training camp started. So it took me 5 weeks to be ready to kick.
Okay.
But, you know, I was running and stuff. It was just that motion, that kicking motion, because it was like, you know, scraping and, you know, kind of just grabbing a little bit. So, but, I mean, these guys, I mean, Nate Hobbs is an elite athlete. He's going to, you know, get into his recovery quick. Some of these things, if it's just something that they needed, like, he'll be better off now than if he was, like, you know, playing with something that was like pinching or grabbing that he was going to nag, you know, was going to nag him through the whole season. So the hope is that his recovery goes smooth. It's probably going to be 4 weeks. Let's just be honest. I mean, 3 weeks sounds like a pretty quick time frame. So let's just not plan on seeing him till he'll probably practice in that, you know, either in that time after that last preseason game or moving into week one. Corey Ballantyne can fill in, can be a guy, you know, if they need him. but he's just kind of a security blanket at this point.
Yeah, first preseason game Saturday, August 9th. How do you think Jordan Love gets like a series?
0%
0% chance.
0% chance.
Do you think he'll get a series at all this preseason?
I'd be shocked.
Really?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe in that third game, just because you do now have that bye week, you have some time off, but you have to be wise. I mean, what's the point?
Sure.
Like if and you might be trying to evaluate guys. So honestly, what is it now? Maybe that second preseason game is probably more of it's what the old third preseason game was. So maybe in that second game, but I just I don't see the point if you feel good where he's at. Like I don't quite know what the point would be. You might want are you going to play Matthew Golden? Like the only reason would be to just get them a few live reps against another opponent.
Right.
But again, they're going to practice against the Colts next week. So it's like you're going to get some reps in practice, and that's why you do those joint practices.
I was just going to
so your
ask,
starters don't have to play in games.
Yeah, is that more productive than any preseason game, those joint practices?
Yeah, because you're not risking them getting hit, or you're trying not to risk the actual full tackling, the full physicality of a game. But you're getting some opponent reps where you're going against ones for the other team. So I think if they feel good about the work they get in those joint practices, then they have no business playing in any of these preseason games.
Do you think the NFL would maybe be wiser to just get rid of preseason and just every week just film and put up like joint practices for people? Like because obviously that's why preseason still exists. Is like TV deals at this point because there's no one cares. They just want some fix. Like what if they just
and
were
it's
like
local revenue because season ticket holders have to purchase the preseason games.
Yeah.
So you're making that money and you're just not going to get that unless you're Green Bay and you sell practices. And you
to
come out and watch a
60,000.
practice.
No big deal. No big deal. All right, well, we'll continue on talking about the Packers here on the other side in the second hour. If one player is going to break out for the Packers this year, who is your pick? What is your prediction for the Green Bay Packers breakout player? Plus, we'll dive into Jordan Love's Player Tribune article, and we're going to cry. We're going to cry not because of laughter of Kmart models, but it's some heavy stuff, but it's a great piece. You really got to go check it out.
Yeah, you need to read it.
Yeah, you got 20 minutes before we talk about it here on the show, and then you can come back, reflect with us as well, because it's Human Tuesday here on the Mason Crosby Show. Whenever we want it to be, it can be a human day for sure. He's Mason Crosby. Tommy Wortz in for Mitch Thunder Nellis today. Second hour of the Mason Crosby Show coming up next on 1250 AM, 105.7 FM The Fan, and on the free Odyssey app. Welcome back to the Mason Crosby Show. Hour number 2 now here. Packers all-time leading scorer Mason Crosby joining myself, Tommy Wortz, in for Mitch Thunder Nellis. Thunder at the Fair coming up at 11 o'clock, top of the hour. He's got Lily Zhao on today to talk about some more Packers news. Nate Hobbs reportedly having surgery on his knee within the last couple of days. How concerned should you be? Thunder will break it down with Lily Zhao, Fox 6. Today at Thunder on the Fair, but we'll keep the Packers conversation going. And right now, like, I don't know the last time, Mason, I guess it's different for you since you played in the NFL, but like, I'm starting to feel like August is like getting me into football season a little more than it usually has in the past. And, you know, I remember growing up and playing the sport, like in August you start practicing, right? Because you got to be ready for September games.
That's how it works.
Feels like that right now, like I'm all in on the Packers right now, and I can't wait for the season to start back up here. First game of the year, you get a divisional opponent, which I guess I'm still like kind of annoyed about, and I think you said you like that, right?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I think it's good. You know, you're coming off training camp. You got a lot of new wrinkles. You play those teams so much. It's nice to be able to maybe throw something different at an opponent that you see so often. You know, and so you can do that in those early games. Makes it exciting, makes it interesting, and then just kind of, you know, your expectations go out there and win, and then you get off on a good foot. And you get that early lead in the division, and you can just kind of keep stacking those successes. So yeah, I'm all for early division games. I like them.
Okay, well, I want the teams to be at their best. Like, I want to have the most.
Well, I know you want cupcake games early, like
right. Well, I mean, more or less, just like the games that really matter. I would like the teams to be, you know, hey, if there's a guy who's going to be out, like because he's injured, then that's already happened later on. If there is a game plan that you want to have implemented at a certain point in the season, like I want the teams to be on full cylinders so I, as a fan watching, can like gauge how I know these teams. You can't judge any team after week 1. Not a single team can you be like, they're the team right there. You can try, you can predict for sure, but as far as actually knowing a team, you don't after week 1.
That's true. That's true. But as you said, like injuries happen, things happen. Like you might be the healthiest you're going to be in those, you know, those first few games. So if you can get a little bit of a buffer where it's like, all right, injuries happen, things are happening, and you need to kind of ride the ship until until these guys get back. Like I'd rather play those tough games early. You know, maybe play some floaters in the middle where it's like those are just a little bit easier. And then, all right, everyone's healthy and we're rolling into the playoffs. Like that'd be the ideal season. Is middle of the season being kind of the little bit of a more cupcake games.
And now talking more about the Green Bay Packers throughout the 2025 season. By week 1, maybe we'll start to have an idea of this question. Nick Laylaw, fan talking text line 414-677-1250. If you want to join the program, 414-677-1250. Who is your pick for the breakout player for the Green Bay Packers? Last year, if you point to it, I think you can look at, hey, look at what Edgerrin Cooper did in his rookie season, because he did break out by the end of the year. It felt like we saw the same thing with Xavier McKinney just taking an extra jump, right, where he was a very good player in New York for sure, but he really elevated himself to an elite tier, it felt like, by the second half of the season. And now we're looking at going into 2025, if you want to pick that player to get that extra jump, whether it is to break out from bad to good or from good to great or from great to elite, where does your brain go first, Mason Crosby? Is it on the offensive side, the defensive side, a pick to break out for the Green Bay Packers in 2025?
Yeah, I go right to Lucas Van Ness. That's where my brain goes, is just to get another piece of that pass rush. You know, it's just want to see him take a step. And it's time. It's kind of now or never. I think with a guy like that. I mean, you're in is this year 3 or year 4?
Year 4, right? He's the
year
before
exactly.
Jordan Morgan.
He's played 3, yeah. So he needs to have a breakout here. I think this is his time to step up, kind of get more of those tools in his arsenal, and go out there and show why he was an early draft pick and what he can do for this team. So I think Lucas Van Ness, for me, on the defensive side of the ball. And I don't look at rookies ever
Correct myself real quick. It is year 3 for Lucas
It's year
Van Ness.
3.
I knew it. I knew it sounded weird after I said it, but yeah, it's year 3. Go ahead, Mason. Sorry.
I trusted you as my producer. So I won't make that mistake again.
I'm not producing today.
Exactly. You're just hosting. You're co-hosting.
No producer duties.
No
today.
producer duties. You're trying to do it all. So yeah, I don't look at rookies as like having breakout seasons.
Right.
I think they just like maybe exceed expectations,
evolve.
or show like what they can or are going to be, and you see their potential. And obviously the low hanging fruit and the one that you want to see. I think if Matthew Golden can actually like step up and be an impact on this offense right away, and we see him progress through the season and being, even if he's wide receiver 3, but you just see him like being an impact on this team. I think that's all we can hope for a rookie wide receiver coming into an offense that has weapons and has some question marks maybe on who's going to step up and be that stud wide receiver. He has that real opportunity to be that spark. So I'm looking at Matthew Golden early and often just to see if he can be that guy that we hope he's going to be.
Yeah, and I think that's also something very common with rookie wide receivers specifically in the NFL is it takes a few weeks, right? It's hard to be ready to go week 1 as a rookie wide receiver, but you see how I think of like Malik Neighbors, right? Where it's by the end of the year, you're like, this guy might be a top 5 wide receiver in the league, because it takes, 8, 6, 7 weeks or so for a guy to really start to feel himself in the offense, get an idea. There's not a lot of tape out on you there. And I don't expect Matthew Golden to be leading the team in receiving yards after 6 weeks of the season. I don't see that, because I think it's going to take some time, as it usually does. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chases don't grow on trees. Like, these are guys that have special super talents right now and go really high in a draft because of it. But even then, it still takes them a handful of weeks to really get acclimated to a system. I do think that if we're going to the offensive side of the ball, another guy that we got to look out for as far as breakout potential goes for staying in the wide receiver room, like Dontavian Wicks, is another guy.
I was looking at him as well.
How many times can we say, like, there's shades of Devontae Adams before you either are or aren't Devontae Adams, right? And I don't think that
no one's Devontae, but
right, that shouldn't be the ceiling or the pressure that he has to live up to. But you got a guy who can really separate really well. He gets away from receivers, and he can't catch the football on top of it, which was Devontae Adams the first 2 years of his career. But
sure.
I think that there's a guy that this is the last year. How many times are you going to be the guy who's like, I'm taking Kyle Pitts in fantasy, right? Like, it's just every year you're like, this guy's an athletic freak.
What a disappointment.
He's going to do it. And then you're like, why is he giving me 4 points a week? Like, it's the same thing with Dontavian Wicks now, where, hey, this is a year that you're surrounding yourself with maybe the most competition of your entire career at this point, with how many wide receivers Green Bay has invested in the draft, plus bringing in veterans like McCole Hardman. They even got rid of Bo Melton for you just to make sure that you had a little bit of opportunity.
But you brought in that buff, Will Shepard, so
yes.
You got to watch that. I mean, that's speed. He has elite speed.
That's my other pick. Now, if we're going on the offensive side, Dontavian Wicks has to be on breakout watch because it's now or never as well. Very similar to it feels like with Lucas Van Ness.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think those guys are they're primed to do something different than what they've done in the past few seasons. They just need to take that step, and it's time. It looks like Van Ness is having a good camp, so I'm excited to see him go up against some unfamiliar opponents and some other teams and just see if he can really have a plan out there, because I think that's the hardest part as a young player in any position is just having your plan in place and then having little minor adjustments around it. Like if you go into a game and you've watched film and you've studied, especially when you watch edge rushers, it's like, all right, you have to have a plan, and then you have a second and third move or a second and third adjustment where it's like, all right, this guy watched me as well. He knows what I'm trying to do. Now what am I going to throw at him that can be a little bit confusing? So I think that's where experience in those positions are so critical, where if you aren't just the Micah Parsons or like that guy that is just going to be able to run around somebody or do something that is just freak athletic, you have to have that plan in place, and you have to be able to have multiple adjustments and all those tools in your tool bag. And I think with Hafley in place, with what they're trying to do on that defense, I think Van Ness can really be that difference maker to allow them to get pressure with 4. And, if I'm looking at a veteran, and I know Kenny was injured last year and all that, and Kenny is my guy, and he has been so good for 10 years now.
Yeah.
If he can just kind of get back into his form, and they can kind of unlock him on this defense and just be that playmaker and that disruptor that he's been in the past, I think that is going to, just really move this defense from, they were great last year,
right?
But to elite, where it is just like nobody wants to play this Packers team because that defense is going to just kill you at every turn.
It's the Mason Crosby Show. Tommy Wortz in for Mitch Thunder Nellis, talking about breakout players for the Green Bay Packers heading into 2025. Who is your pick for a breakout player on the Green Bay Packers? And, I wanted to talk about this. I was thinking about this as you were talking about, and developing a plan and routines that come into, becoming a big leaguer. I just had a question now. What did anything noticeably change with Davante from that year 2 to year 3? Was there something that you could tell, he's got something where he's working something out different, and we saw him struggle to begin his career with the Packers, but then obviously now you look at it, and I think he's got the most receiving touchdowns from Aaron Rodgers, right?
Yep.
And he became just an absolute legend. He'll probably get his number in the Raptors over there.
Most in Packer history.
Yes, yes. But what changed? Did you see the change? Could you tell the change, or did it just one day oh, this guy figured it out? Was there traits or characteristics that you saw him develop to get to that point, or it was strictly just a flash in the pan?
He put the work in, and the group of receivers that we had in that building. You look at Jordy Nelson and the demand he put on just being consistent, catching the ball, doing all those little things. I think Davante was just a great student of all of his teammates and those guys that pushed him and didn't accept him being to underachieve in catching the football. So it was just don't let that stuff get you down. Just put your head down, work a little bit harder, do a little bit more, catch a million jugs balls, do all those little things that nobody's watching, because it's I don't know if anyone runs routes as well as Davante Adams.
Right.
The guy breaks ankles before he catches the ball and then after he catches it. So it's do all those things, but if you don't catch the ball, none of that matters, right?
Exactly.
Catch the ball, do your job, and I think he had the right people in the building to kind of help develop him in that way. And you have to lean into those things, whether it's a player, a coach, somebody that is going to tell you and be honest with you and say, this has to be done this way, and you will get to where you want to go, and trust it and go and put your head down and be humble and do the work. And Davante Adams is all of those things, and that's why he is elite now.
Your pick for breakout players for the Green Bay Packers heading into 2025 seems maybe a bit chalk, but here on the Packers, on the Mason Crosby Show, Lucas Van Ness, Dontavian Wicks, if we're going on both sides of the ball, has to feel like there's something that you got to look out for on both of those sides, at least the most banger bust potential, it feels like, on each side of the ball for the Packers. Mal Mason.
Yeah, it could really help this team if those two really have breakout seasons. I think it's going to just elevate this team to a spot that they will truly be championship contenders if they can have guys like that step up and really be impactful this year.
And we'll go Mecole Hardman on special teams, just for you, Mason. Okay,
Mecole Hardman, yeah.
On Wii Fence. Did you guys call it Wii Fence when you were there?
There was a time when they called it that. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's kind of a weird one.
Okay, all right. Just going to say.
We just called it teams. I like teams.
Okay, teams works. I like that. I like teams. That plays better.
Special teams is kind of weird. It's why are we? Oh, you're just special.
Special teams, special players, right?
You're not playing football. You're just special.
Special teams.
Yeah.
All right, teams from now on.
We go teams.
Yeah, we took it Microsoft. Don't worry. Yeah,
that's right.
All right. Coming up, we're going to talk about the Players Tribune article with Jordan Love love getting to 10:20 can go anywhere
I
here
don't
on
want
the
to do
Mason
it. I
Crosby
don't know
Show.
I don't know if I can handle this.
Well,
Tommy.
it's Human Tuesday here, and Mason's going to be on tomorrow, actually, riding the next 4 days in a row here on the Mason Crosby Show. But just want to, talk about it because it's news, right? And we always seem to go wherever our brain takes us. It feels like ethics and emotion should just be called the 1020
the
segment.
1020 segment
Of the Mason Crosby Show.
For
Ethics
sure.
and emotion coming up next here on the Mason Crosby Show, live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's the Mason Crosby Show. Tommy Wortz in for Mitch Thunder Nellis. Thunder at the Fair coming up after here. Packers all-time leading scorer with me. We got a call, Mason, here. We got Ken in the Falls joining us on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, talking breakout players here before we get into Jordan Love. Ken, how we doing today, my friend?
If I were any better, I wouldn't know what to do with myself.
I love it. Let's go, Ken.
Ken, your pick for a breakout player for the Green Bay Packers heading into 2025?
Not a player. It's got to be Matt LaFleur.
Okay. Elaborate, Ken.
Well, the offense is stale, in my opinion. And it appears, you can see how defenses come against us. They're predictable. And this offense needs to be less predictable in what they're doing. You've got good players on it. You've got a new quarterback in here now, third year. You've got to do something that gets these guys more motivated. They just seem like they're a little lackluster at times. And to me, that's all about coaching. You're a reflection of who's running your team. And right now, this Packer team on offense does not look very good. So they're going to have to figure it out quickly here, and Matt LaFleur is going to have to be a little more creative and stop using that old, stale 49er garbage. Let's see something different. And if, in fact, they do that, this team can accelerate and go far in the playoffs. But from what I've seen the last couple of seasons, it's rough to watch at times. And I know we got a new quarterback, but there are a lot of exciting guys. When you pick up a guy like Josh Jacobs, and now you have a balanced attack, you have opportunity. And as long as you have a balanced attack, you can do more things. You can be more creative. We have a great defense now, but the offense has to step it up, and this is on Matt LaFleur. If he doesn't get it done, Ed Policy might say, you know what, this is my team now. Let's make a change.
Oh, Ken. Hot take, Ken. I love this. Yeah. No, I agree with you, Ken. I think the creativity could get ramped up. It does at times feel that way, and just a plan in place. And you talk if you look at it, LaFleur does not run the same offense as Kyle Shanahan. Like Shanahan does more movement shifts, things like that. Like LaFleur is more of a tempo, trying to get in and out of different things. He might shift guys, but I would say 49ers do more motion and more movement and kind of try to keep teams on the back foot a little bit more. So I agree with you. I think some creativity wouldn't be a bad option here for this Packers team. So I really think I appreciate that take, Ken.
Ken, thanks for calling in. Oh, yeah, go ahead, okay. Ken.
Oh, yeah, what I mean by that when I say 49ers is, how those guys are buddies. And we do have almost identical plays to what they run. Yes, they run a little more motion than we do, but when you look at how the offense actually runs, it's very similar to what the 49ers do. These guys that are, when they're all friends amongst each other. Yeah,
they all came up through the same system, yeah.
Correct. Do they copy off each other? Sure. But when you look at the teams that are excelling, here you got the old fossil Andy Reid, and he can bring creativity, and he's winning Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. So, come on, we got a young Matt LaFleur. Matt, if you're listening, get more creative this year. Let's see some excitement out of this office. Let's do some things that maybe you're not accustomed to doing. You have fast, speedy guys. You can make these things work, Matt. Let's just interject some new stuff.
Just unlock it. I like that. Yeah. Let's unlock this offense.
Ken in the Falls, thank you so much. Don't be a stranger. Have a good rest of your day, my friend.
You too.
There he is. Ken in the Falls jumps off the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and text line. You can join the show as well, too. 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. Creativity, Matt LaFleur. Hey, Matt LaFleur needs to break out here, Mason?
I mean, that was a deep thought as we're diving into Human Tuesday. I don't think he's wrong. I think there are some times where it's like you get so caught up in the X's and O's and like really wanting to run a certain type of offense or have it look a certain way. And he touched on Kansas City and Andy Reid. I mean, they do like the spiral huddle, and they do like you can't lose the fun in football, right?
Sure.
I mean, you're playing a kid's game as adults, and you get to go out there and play football. So if you take the aspect of like this should be fun. We should be able to run some plays that are unique and different and not gimmicky. They don't have to be gimmicky, but they can be something that really gets guys excited. I say go all in for it, because like what do you have to lose? I think if you play cautious and scared of making mistakes, that's when bad things happen. So I could see that, and I think it's not a bad thing to just as Matt LaFleur is kind of building this thing towards the season, just have that in his mind all the time, that like I need to make sure these guys are loose and we're running some plays that just gets everybody excited and that we can kind of hang our hat on.
I completely I just think Matt LaFleur is a great coach. I really do. I think that he is easily, if he was gone, he would be the top name on the market. Every team who doesn't have a coach as good as Matt LaFleur would be interested in calling for Matt LaFleur. And I really do believe that. I think he has, an opportunity now here with Jordan Love to really be more of that face of the Green Bay Packers. When you think of the Chiefs, do you think Mahomes or do you think Andy Reid? Well, when it was the Patriots, do you think Brady? Do you think Belichick, right? There was always an argument at who you could think of there. When it was Aaron Rodgers, like, it's Aaron Rodgers. You're not going to be in that market right there to be face of franchise. I think he has a little bit of that, and what we've determined now too is like it is a symbiotic relationship with head coach and with quarterback. It feels like,
especially when it's offensive minded. Yeah,
absolutely. And this is the opportunity for Matt LaFleur to get this year.
It's year 3, Jordan Love at the helm. So like now you do start that question mark, right? Mm-hmm. Aaron's gone. Like you're kind of in this spot now. It's like everything is on Matt and Jordan Love, like for their 3rd year, doing it together. And I mean, he made the comment about Ed Policy. I don't think Ed Policy is going to probably have as much like kind of leeway, maybe. Like it just like he might be a little more of a hardliner than Mark Murphy was.
Yeah.
Just to say like, well, this isn't what I want to see, and like what's going to change. And does that go straight to LaFleur? I don't know, but does he put pressure to find a different offensive coordinator or different some different coaches in that space? That's something that could end up happening in that as well.
I do think that if Matt LaFleur feels like his seat is hot at any point this season, something went really, really, really wrong. Like I think that
they're too good of a team,
right?
Yeah, like they're going to win games and they're going to be effective.
Yes,
whether we're happy with how their offense looks or if it's exciting or creative enough, like they're still gonna find ways to score points. Their defense is exceptional.
You know who has a really creative offense that, like, I am so thankful I'm not a fan of? The Miami Dolphins.
Oh, right? I was just thinking as soon as you said that, I'm like, gosh.
I don't. The Dolphins.
Tyreek Hill didn't even know how to run plays.
Right,
apparently, he didn't even know what they were trying to do.
It's playground football over there, and sure, they get some exciting, really great plays because they have guys with elite traits.
Waddle and Tyreek Hill, who are just ridiculous.
Yeah, so I do understand. Like, there is personnel that has to go into this conversation too, where it's like, can Matt LaFleur be more creative? Maybe, sure. Did he showcase that when he had to rock with Malik Willis at quarterback? Yeah, he did.
Well, I think he just leaned on like a Josh Jacobs, like what our strengths were.
Yes.
Good offensive line, good running offensive line, maybe not the best pass blocking offensive line that we've had in Green Bay, but a great running offensive line. So, like, let's just pound the rock.
Yeah.
Let's shorten these games. Let's let a really good defense play ball.
Quick passes, right?
It's not exciting. It's not sexy, but you have to give credit to a coach that is willing. It might not feel creative, but he's creative in the sense that he's willing to adjust from just running a prototypical, like what everyone expects from an offensive guru of like doing all this stuff to just pounding the rock and trying to, just play good, productive offense. It's not exciting, but if it wins ball games, I'll take that all day.
Absolutely. It's the Mason Crosby Show. Tommy Wortz in for Mitch Thunder Nellis here. We're talking a little bit Green Bay Packers and transitioning. Probably a good thing to have Ken in the Falls come in so we can just touch on this rather than just spend 20 minutes in this mindset, I guess, right here.
Yeah.
But Jordan Love, the Players Tribune Signature Series, Jordan Love wrote a little piece up there reflecting on his time in the NFL, but also what happened before that stage, right? And this is titled, "None of This Was Supposed to Happen." It's by Jordan Love, written in. And really, he starts things off. And Mason, if my math is correct, like, you were still on the Packers in 2021, correct?
I was.
Yes. So Jordan Love talks about this blank moment, right? And you can fill in the blank on however you want. That's how he's not even talking about welcome to the NFL, he says, to start this off. But when you're the backup, they always say prepare like you're going to be the starter every week. And you really believe you're doing it. That's the funny thing. But there's levels to this game, and Aaron got ruled out COVID midweek on November 7th, 2021, and my job was to step up and make sure that standard didn't drop. So before we go any further into that, Mason, that season, right, and that time frame is way different than any other time frame in pro sports history, let alone NFL history, right? And in the history of the world, let alone sports history, right?
Yeah.
What was that like, I guess, and how did the team really rally around Jordan just in that game where he's got to go to Arrowhead, he's He's got to play against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, who are the standard in the NFL at the time right now. And you realize you're not going to have Aaron, but you know you're not going to have Aaron, and you now have to prepare with Jordan during that stretch.
Well, you just I think you knew how good of a team we had, and it was like, all right, like Jordan's just developing. Like they brought in, they liked his skill set, they like his potential to be the future of this thing. And it was just like, all right, keep working, doing your thing. Like through camp, through the times that we all were, like through practice, it's like, all right, this guy, Jordan has talent, like for sure, but he's still figuring out this game, how to play in the NFL. But I love, like, as you get deeper into this article too, how he talks about just absorbing everything he could from every moment, from Aaron, I love his honesty about just like, it's so different. You think you know everything. You think you're the smartest guy in the room in the film study. It's like, I can see the defenses. I know exactly what checks to call, all that. And then you get on the field and it's like, what is all this?
Yeah.
Like you have to apply it over and over again to get that comfort level. So I think his honesty and his openness in this article was just really refreshing.
Sure.
To just like really kind of open up his chest and say like, hey, I learned a lot. I'm not perfect. I didn't do any of this on my own. I drew a ton of information from places. I am my own man, and I am my own quarterback that like is going to put his own stamp on this. But I have to give thanks to all these all this stuff that led me to where I am today.
Yeah, later on in the article, he talks about, I got punched in the mouth that whole first half. It was humbling, but I'll never forget. We ran out in the second half. I knew there was one thing I could count on for sure. In the top row of the stadium, in the very last row, literally in the last row, one person still cheering him on. It's his mom, and they have the video here of like his mom and his girlfriend at the time, now wife, I believe, Ronica Stone, how they're like literally in the last row of the stadium.
We gave him a hard time for that.
Yeah.
It was like, dude, you knew you were starting. Like, you could have gotten him a better seat. Like, you're a first-round draft pick, bro.
Right.
You're getting paid pretty well. Like,
this isn't like college
doesn't
football
have to be
rivalry
sitting up there
where
in
you
the
can't.
corner.
They got the band up in the top
but
over here.
I give Jordan so much credit. Like, that's who, like, from this whole article and just like knowing who he is and his humility and all of this, like, he lives from a place of like, he was like, he's fine. He was a quarterback too for a long time. Like, that's like his mindset. I'm working. I'm trying to, become this person and this player that I want to be, but I'm not going to forget how I got there. And my mom's showing up regardless if she's in the top row or I have her front row or in a suite. Like, she is going to be there. And that just says so much. I did not realize his mom was a state trooper. His dad was a police officer. I mean, like, I'm not going to dive deep into like the story of his parents. Cause like the dad, like that's what's going to bring me to tears.
Later on in the story, right? He's just talking about like, none of this was supposed to happen is the name of the title, right? And it feels like we hear that story in pro sports a lot, right? Where it's like, I was doubted, I was a backup, I was someone who was told it was never going to happen. But like, you find those moments, right? And you find that stubbornness in your brain where it's like, there is no other option. There's no other plan. Like, there is a stubborn ambition that comes out of someone where you have it. And that's what it takes to get to that level, right? Every player, it feels like, who's gotten to the professional level of any sport, they all have that same trait. It's a stubborn ambition. And it's like that
and there's
with
always
anything.
There's always someone in their support system, right? Whether it be a parent, a coach, a grandparent, a friend, like a friend's
and usually
parents.
it's crowded, right? I mean, you got a ton of support, right?
Like, but his mom, his dad before he took his own life, like, it's just like he leans on them and he knows they aren't going anywhere. Even when he talks in this article, his dad, not with him on earth anymore, but like, it's just like they are always there with him. And so he can go out and be free to do all this, chase his dreams, go after this stuff. So that's another thing. And when I read this, it's like, are you doing that in your own life? Are you being a support for somebody? Because you never know what that support's going to mean in someone's life, right? They could be going through having doubts, doing all this. So don't be afraid to step in and just openly just support somebody, because it's like it makes a huge difference, and greatness happens with that support. So I do want to touch on this this part of the article as he's talking about when he came in, right? And he's like, and we talked about Devontae and how great he was. And he was like, there was nothing like it when him and Devontae were out on the practice field. They wouldn't miss. Literally, they had some kind of telepathic thing going on. Aaron would snap the ball, he'd glance over at Devontae's release, and then with a split second, he knew where to put it, right back shoulder. Perfect. There was no check, no communication, just a look. Then you'd watch him on Sundays, and he's dictating the terms of the defense. And I think that's like this next progression with Jordan, right? Is just that, like, he's in control, unlocking LaFleur's offense where he can make all those adjustments, all those calls. He's free to go do it, and he needs to have that release. And then I love when he says he talked about Aaron, like, what's he looking at? Like, he was playing two games of chess at the same time, where Aaron, all the chaos, all the stuff's going. He's looking at the sideline, seeing if they're substituting so he can try to get a free play. Like, that is crazy, like, whenever you think about it. And, like, Jordan being able to watch that and understand that, and just to look at himself, like, where he talks about being his own man, like, to be in his own quarterback, like, he's like, am I capable of doing that? Because not everyone is capable of doing that. So you have to find your own kind of restrictions, or like, where is that spot where it's like, all right, if I do that, am I going to be the best quarterback I can be? Or can I do it at times in the game? So I think Jordan has unlocked all of that, and, like, speaking into the existence in this article, I think is therapeutic for Jordan. I think getting it out there is like a really positive for Jordan Love.
Another comment here, Jordan Love, we're talking about his article in the Players Tribune here. I mean, I'd been a QB2 a lot of my life. For me, it was nothing new. It was perfect, actually. Think about it. You're coming into the league at 21 years old. It's a different world. I'm not even talking about just football. You have to be able to command a room and know how to talk to different guys, how to motivate them, what to say, what not to say. I got to watch Aaron and how he handled those situations, and that was invaluable. And there's a lot of moments where he brings up Aaron in this story, right?
Yeah.
And I had said this at the back end of the Pack-A-Day radio show, and I didn't want to give away too much of, like, my thoughts about it because I knew we were going to talk about it today. But, like, if you want to, like, find something or find more dirt on Aaron Rodgers because you are hating on him,
it's not going to be.
Don't read this article. Do not read this article, because he looks great throughout this article. And not that that should be the focus of this article at all, but I'm just saying that when you have
somebody he could have been a jerk to,
right,
and from what animosity,
and what we've understood, like, that was not the same relationship the last time the regime changed, too. Like,
and
that was not what happened.
The media tried to paint before they ever even, like, had a moment together. And Jordan hit on that. He's like, before we ever even spoke, they were already telling this story, about, this young guy, coming trying to unseat Aaron Rodgers. Right. They draft him first round. Like, he's, how's that relationship going to be? And, like, everything you're reading here. And that's what was apparent in the locker room. That's why you never heard anything from the Packers and from the players on this front, because it was just understood. Everyone knew what Aaron Rodgers is and what he was, and, like, he was winning MVPs.
Right.
Right. It's like
had more to win with Jordan watching too. Yeah.
So it's not like you were just going to move on, but the Packers do like to have a plan, and it ended up unfolding just fine. And they drafted a guy with humility that is humble, but also has a very good sense of self in Jordan Love. And he was able to really grow under Aaron Rodgers, tutelage, without Aaron, again, just watching him, without Aaron talking about X's and O's and saying, like, this is how you play quarterback. It's just like, watch me, follow me. I'm going to lead you to where you need to be. And they both seem to have that mutual respect. When Aaron talks about Jordan, it's the same way, right?
Yeah. And I think that, when we get into these topics, like, you got to go back and talk about Scotty, right? And how, where he finds his fulfillment on a personal level, because it doesn't happen through golf, right? All these moments are so euphoric and utopian where it's like, just all flash in the pan moments and just so quick, and then you realize like there's other things that go off with this as well too. But I think back to it where it's like the smartest people know the most about themselves, right?
For
and
sure.
Jordan Love is showcasing that he's like learned so much about just who he is and how he operates in his time in the NFL. And does that translate to the football field? I don't know. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. It sure as hell looks like it has for the time right now that we've seen out of Jordan Love. But I mean, he's put up 2 very solid seasons. Whatever you want to think, compare him to Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. Yeah, maybe they're not great years for you, but as far as starting quarterback caliber seasons in the NFL, he is absolutely closer to the top than he is to the bottom. Maybe
he doesn't compound mistakes, and I think that's because however anyone feels about it, like the Packers did it the right way.
Yeah,
they brought him under a Hall of Fame quarterback to just learn this stuff, so that it wasn't once you day one starter, you are just all this, this stuff. Because he even said in 2023, once he took over, he saw all the stuff. It's like you can't avoid it. It's all right in front of you. And I love this comment from his mom that he puts, where she's just like, even my mom was like, big shoes to fill. You going to be all right? You got to play good or they'll get another quarterback. He's like, oh, thanks, Mom. I got you.
Nice. I mean, if your mom's not keeping the realist with you, then no one's going to by far. It's a great piece. It goes in, it talks a lot more personal life as well on there. Talking about his mom, talking about his father, in which he lost in high school from suicide as well. But it's like there's a lot of good stuff in there. We've only touched like the tip of the iceberg, so definitely go check it out in the Players Tribune. None of this should have happened by Jordan Love. It's a great piece, but it really just makes you like another example of I was talking about it with Andy again, like I don't really understand how polarizing Jordan Love is in the state because, I mean, there's still way more people out there than you think that are like Malik Willis should be the quarterback.
No,
oh my God.
Stop it.
Dude, I'm telling you, we had Jacob Morley on, who is great on Pack-A-Day Radio. He talked about it. He put up a poll the day before that was 51-49 with hundreds of votes, maybe 1,000 by the end of it. That was that split on Love and Willis.
I might put something up today, and I'll say Ed Tommy Ward said something ridiculous on my show today.
I am not.
No, I know. I'm just gonna say, like, you put this out there, and I just want to know: do fans really think that like Jordan or Malik Willis should start over Jordan Love?
Yeah, put a poll.
Should I just do that? Yes or no?
Make it a poll. Yeah.
Should do fans
put
truly
Willis?
think?
Put Love. You got to put Willis or Love because that's the people love his name.
I just got to make sure
reason,
it's clear that I'm not just like I'm out not asking this question because I think it's ridiculous.
No, yeah, you got to say that Tommy feels that there are more fans that think that this is a closer like position battle or something along those lines.
And
so who would you want?
Yeah.
Malik Willis, Jordan Love. Those are the two options.
Okay.
Put that up, and we'll reflect on it tomorrow, and you're going to be like, this is crazy how close it is.
I need to know this.
It should be 99-1. It should be the troll 1% that are on Malik
1%.
Willis, but it will not be. I promise you it's going to be way closer than you think. You definitely put that up. Let me know when you put that up, too.
Yep.
We're going to get to your extra points here, all right? Let's do it. Let's wrap the show up, close things up, get you ready for Thunder at the Fair starting at 11 o'clock. It's the Mason Crosby Show on 1250 AM, 105.7 FM The Fan, free on the Odyssey app, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers.
What's on Mason Crosby's mind today? It's time for Extra Points, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan.
All right, Tommy, I'm about to post this. What's on my mind is this ridiculous comment that you made in this last segment.
You're going to be so shocked. It's going to be way closer than you think.
Let me just make sure I'm phrasing this right, and you can help me out if so I don't post something that just sounds kind of ridiculous. So I said, okay, at Tommy WSSP brought to my attention that there's a big contingent of fans who think Malik Willis should be starting for the Packers. I need to know your thoughts. And then I just put, who should be the Packers QB1? Jordan Love, Malik Willis? Or should I pose the question differently there?
I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah, no, okay. I think that's totally fine. Yeah, and I would like to make it clear, I think it's just a crazy argument. I think it's a crazy poll. I don't think it should be even close, and it's going to be a lot closer than you think. I'm going to bet 60.
I'm about to post.
Okay.
We're doing it.
Okay, yeah, I bet 60-40. I bet it's going to be that close. That's where I've been at right now, and I think that's crazy. I do. But
please, people, don't make it 60-40.
It's gonna be closer than you think.
Don't do it.
All right, we'll make sure that once you post it, we'll get it retweeted on the fan and whatnot too. Everyone can be a participant. I want it to be 95-5. I want that to be clear. That's just what I want to put out there. So even though it was my idea to make this post, I think it's a stupid post. But it's not gonna be a stupid post.
All right. If it's not at least 90-10,
right?
There's gonna be a little, there's gonna be a little disappointment. We'll touch on it. We'll touch on this tomorrow. We'll see what the results are tomorrow, and we'll dive into it and just keep this conversation going. So.
Any other little tidbits you want to get to before we talk to Mitch?
No, that was a great show. I didn't cry during that last segment. I think I got some of my tears out early, just reading about his dad and all of that with Jordan Love. I mean, I'm excited. I've been a big fan of Jordan since he got there. It was a little weird just being with Aaron for so long.
Sure.
And you're just like, how do you act? But Jordan's just such a solid dude. He does things the right way. So I just hope he has an awesome season, and just kind of carries this Packers team back to greatness, which they deserve.
Absolutely. Mitch Thunder Nellis coming up with Thunder at the Fair. Mitch, you got us down there. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You sound beautiful down there. Mitch,
Thank you, Tommy.
How are things going down there at the Fair today so far?
They're going great. I already crushed a Scotty Cup. If you don't know, a Scotty Cup is a cup full of strawberries, fresh strawberries, with like chocolate sauce drizzled over, topped with homemade marshmallow fluff and homemade toffee from our friends at Freeze's over there in West Allis, Freeze's Candy Shop. They also do the heavenly roasted nuts. They are amazing. Many people listening know my friend Josh Albrecht. Josh is having one of these a day, which is insane. I'm having one. I'm good. And I'm not even finishing all the chocolate and whipped cream because it's marshmallow fluff. It's amazing, but it's a lot. And we're watching the midsection. Mason, I want to get back to your poll. I'm 1,000% behind you on this one. Jordan Love, it should be at least 90%. I can't take credit for this, but my good friend Homer, who I think you probably know, he used to always say, well, at least 4% of people eat ice cream cones from the bottom. So you can never get a poll to go 100%.
That makes sense.
There's always going to be the outliers of craziness.
That's good reasoning.
But it is. But I'm a little nervous about Tommy, and his logic is not flawed. Man, there are Packers fans out there who just see that Malik Willis won games last year, and they don't pay attention to the fact that Jordan Love was hurt. They just see that he struggled a little bit and didn't improve as much as they wanted him to from year 1 to year 2 as a starter. And they're like, man, all Malik Willis does is win. Why wouldn't you just have him be the starter? He only wins games. Man, come on, people.
Yeah, I completely agree, Mitch. Like I said, I think it's just going to be a lot closer, and I need that to be I need your eyes open to be like, that's the crazy. Look at it. I zoomed in by accident on there from doing that.
Okay, so far, I was going to cancel Twitter, but hey, I appreciate everyone that follows me on Twitter so far. We're at 90-10 for Jordan Love.
Okay, good. That's where it should be with 10 people voting in. I'm telling you, it's going to get crazy probably.
We got 42 votes.
Okay, good.
All right, let's get there.
I need it to be at least 90-10.
You guys know that I'm amazing with names, and I get every name right all the time. I may have called Grant Anderson Garrett Anderson yesterday. Mason,
Nice.
Garrett Anderson was an outfielder with the Angels for like 15 years.
Why is it always
90
some random baseball player
I
that
don't-
like
I
nobody
don't know.
knows about?
All right, here's my issue. I had Andy Herman on the show, and he told me how good Carrington Valentine's been playing, and that Valentine's going to work his way more onto the field. I can't deal with Valentine and Ballantyne.
Yeah, you're
like,
screwed.
I can't, like,
Oh,
and they both
gosh, we
have, and they
can't
both
do
have
it.
hard C's to start their names, Carrington and Corey.
Yeah.
Like there was no, like I remember when they were both on the team a couple of years ago. I couldn't get like I'm not even going to try.
And
Just
he-
send
gonna
in a
say-
letter right now to the Packers. Just please, for my sake, do
There's
not
gotta be somebody.
keep both of them. Yeah.
Mitch, what you got
Right.
coming up for the rest of Thunder at the Fair today?
Obviously, we're talking a lot of Brewers. They're the best team in the history of Earth, at least on August 5th, 2025. Lily Zhao from Fox 6 is going to jump on. Gabe Lax, he's a USA Today national writer, but he wrote a little article about the Brewers, and I just kind of wanted to get the feel from him about, like, are national people actually starting to pay attention? Because every time I go to ESPN.com and the MLB page, there's a different team on the front cover, and it's never the Brewers. Like, I think the Phillies are on the front cover today, and it's like, I just don't think they're getting the
Right,
respect
the
yet.
national.
But Gabe wrote an article, and he wrote about how, like, what they're doing with Miz is the right thing. And I was actually surprised that a national person actually paid attention and saw what they were doing with Miz and just giving him this rest, and that it's all going to work out. And then Mike Jacques, our good friend from the Border Brouhaha
Yep.
softball game, I should probably get this right before I say it. I think he's with NBC 15 in Madison. I know he's definitely on TV in Madison. He's going to join at 1 o'clock. And I know you guys you talked a lot of Badgers with Channel 3000. Andy was awesome today. And we're going to just follow up from that conversation and keep that Badgers conversation going, because as much attention as we're paying to the Packers, and there's a game this Saturday night, Badgers are doing training camp too, and we got to figure out, like, how they will not embarrass us this year.
Yeah, I mean they're winning minimum 7 games. So
Minimum 7
That's
games.
just-
Tommy, do you have a Sharpie?
Dude, he
Tommy,
voted
write
for-
it down.
he
Write it down in
totally-
Sharpie
I
right
just
now.
I got
Totally voted for Malik Willis in his own poll after all that. That was Mason right
That
there.
doesn't know ball.
That is
Crosby
just
doesn't know ball.
Crazy work. Crazy work. Mitch, have a good show today. We'll talk again tomorrow, my friend.
Awesome. You guys are the absolute best. It's awesome to catch up. I do miss you, and so I can't wait to see you IRL and on video again soon. I'm here at the fair through Friday, and then I'm back in studio on Monday. So we'll figure out our schedules, and we'll get this all straightened out.
Sounds
All
good.
right.
We'll talk to you again,
keep
Mitch. Thank
crushing
you.
it. Thanks, Mitch.
Thanks, guys.
There he is, Mitch Thunder Nellis. Thunder at the Fair coming up. Mason, another day in the books. We'll be back tomorrow to do it again.
Yep. Gosh, what a great show. Yeah, we'll talk to everybody. I don't know if tomorrow's gonna be Human Wednesday. I feel like I had some humanness today, so maybe it'll just be Wild Wednesday, and let's get wild tomorrow.
You didn't know that I would make you not only a better radio person, but a better human when you met me, Mason. You're welcome for
I knew
doing
it
that.
right away. Your aura is real. Isn't
Okay.
that what they say?
All right, yeah, they say that. You shouldn't, but they do say that, yes. It's the Mason Crosby Show, live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Thunder at the Fair up next. Mason, let's do it again tomorrow.
Let's do it.
I was